Without lifting a finger, this is how you get your body to utilize more fuel. Because sure, energy balance matters, the amount of calories that we take in and the amount of calories we expend, but there is a system that is more important to focus on, and that is our energy flux. You see, energy flux is different from energy balance. As a matter of fact, energy flux is almost the parent of energy balance. Energy flux, which I'm going to explain how to maximize, is the amount of energy moving through a system. In this case, our body. It's the flux, the amount, the sheer volume of energy moving through. Energy balance, calories in, calories out, is simply the delta or the difference between the amount of energy in and energy out. So energy in and energy out matters, but in a lot of ways, what matters more is the total volume of energy. You see, if you want to lose more fat, sure, you can absolutely pay attention to your energy balance. But at a certain point, you start really getting granular with these small amounts. Hear this out. Your energy flux is the rate of intake, the rate of the calories coming in, the rate of the energy being expended, and sometimes even the rate of storage if it's monumental enough. So how do we increase the amount that our body expends without just exercising, or without even consciously thinking about non-exercise activity thermogenesis, where you're consciously walking more or doing the dishes? How do we do this without even thinking about it? Well, let's explain. Time for school. After today's video, I put a link for our sponsor, LMNT electrolytes, and in case you haven't seen it, they have a new sparkling version in a can. So it's a sparkling electrolyte, 1,000 milligrams sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, 60 milligrams magnesium with 0 calories. Amazing if you're on a diet, amazing if you're fasting, amazing if you're working out, and of course they still have their normal stick packs too. Those are my general go-to, but the sparkling is nice because it's almost like I feel like I'm having a soda, but it's got something in it that I could use, especially if I'm active. So when I'm cutting calories, having electrolytes really just kills the appetite a little bit. It makes me feel like I'm getting something and I don't feel like I need to go somewhere else for it. Anyhow, the link down below gets you a free variety pack of LMNT stick packs with any purchase. So grapefruit salt, you can get the watermelon salt, the citrus salt, the mango chili, the chocolate salt, all the really good flavors that they have that have pretty much no calories. So again, that link is down below, drinklmnt.com/Thomas, drinklmnt.com/Thomas for that free sample variety pack with purchase. Okay, so high energy flux would mean a high amount of calories coming in, a high amount of calories being expended. Low energy flux would be a low amount of calories coming in and a low amount of calories being expended. So at the end of the day, you're net at the same, right? But that's where I've talked about this in different videos before. It's not really the case. Like, for example, if you consumed 5,000 calories and burned 5,000 calories, it's actually not the exact same as eating 2,000 calories and burning 2,000 calories. Yes, on the surface, you're at net zero either way, but the rate of energy flux actually requires more energy from the body. It requires more metabolism, so to speak. The rate of energy coming in demands a lot from your body. It's like a big flame burning versus a little flame burning. And I want you to think of something, because here's why it really matters. Again, I'm using this extreme example, but if you consumed 10,000 calories and you burned 10,000 calories, if you had a little bit of a margin of error there, like if you accidentally overate 200 calories or 300 calories and your math was a little bit wrong, it would barely make a dent in the grand scheme of things because you have so much energy moving through. Now, on the contrary, if you were restricting calories and you only ate 1,000 calories and you burned 1,000 calories, that same 200 or 300 calorie mistake becomes monumental because in the grand scheme of energy moving through, that's a huge mess up. Your margin for error is so much less when your calories are super restricted. Now, I'm going to read a quote from a study that was really interesting to help shed some light on a slower metabolism. This was published in Experimental Gerontology, and although it sounds really basic at first, we're going to unpack it a little more so it makes some sense. Calorie restriction reduces metabolic rate independent of changes in fat-free mass or the mass of high metabolic rate organs. So a lot of times people will tell us if you reduce calories, you're going to lose fat or lose size, and therefore your metabolism is going to slow down. Well, this study demonstrates that even independent of that, independent of weight loss or independent of the change in energy of organ systems, overall the metabolism slows down. And it does this to become more efficient. It turns down systems and processes. So in this theory, or this is actual rooted science, but based on that, hypothetically, if we ate a lot more, perhaps we start turning on additional systems that have been dormant or aren't as active because there's an energy abundance. But there's a huge difference between a bunch of energy coming in and energy not being expended. Okay, so if you were to go and eat 10,000 calories and not change your activity level, obviously that's not going to be good because then your energy balance is out of whack. The goal here is how do we keep at net equal energy balance, but at the highest possible rate of flux? Because this starts making it so that you burn more. So I come back to that original thing that I was talking about. The person that eats 5,000 and burns 5,000 is actually burning significantly more than the person eating 2,000 and burning 2,000, even though mathematically it seems as though they both end up at zero, because the overall amount of energy required to just survive and burn becomes significantly greater. There is a mobilization cost, if you will, for all that energy moving through the system. In fact, there was a study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology, Nutrition, and Metabolism. It had subjects exercise and also looked at their food intake. They found that exercise and their food intake ended up increasing their resting energy expenditure. So independent of each other too. So basically, the more that people moved, it didn't just burn calories there, it actually burned more overall, especially in line with their food intake. Again, not rocket science, but it flies in the face of just trying to reduce calories. So if you're going through your daily life, okay, and here's an example. Let's say you're a 200-pound person at 10% body fat, random number, and you're out doing your normal chores, right? You're walking around the house, you're doing the dishes, you're vacuuming up, you're cleaning up dog puke, all these things, right? Okay, let's say you're that same person, but you consumed an extra 1,000 calories. There's a good chance that you are probably going to simply burn more doing your daily activities because there's almost these erroneous things that go on. Like maybe you're fidgeting a little bit more. Now, is it always going to match that? Like if you consume an extra 1,000 calories and you don't change a thing, well, yeah, you might burn a little more throughout your non-exercise activity thermogenesis for sure, but it's probably not going to equate to the extra 1,000 calories. But your body's going to have, in a way, spare energy to do something with if you're a metabolically healthy person. But now I want to unpack this in a way that you can apply, because you've got this information, but what do you do with it? Do you just say, okay, I'm going to go to McDonald's now, and I'm going to hope for the best that my body burns more? Because it's not really how it works, right? You do need to make a conscious and concerted effort to move more, to get this to rev up. I am a firm believer that you can restart and invigorate a metabolism by doing this and moving more energy through a system. Okay, it's like forcing it through a funnel until the funnel finally kind of breaks, okay, or forcing it through a dam until the dam breaks, or maybe it doesn't break, but just opens up more, okay? So what I would suggest people do is each week increase your calories by about 200, but increase your activity each week by 200. And it sounds like a small amount, right? Because 200 calories over the course of a week, that's what going to be maybe, 20 or 30 more calories on the treadmill or something like that, right? 200 extra calories per week. And I know you're not tracking down to that T, so I'm just saying, like, even just figuratively, just guess that, right? And then you keep doing that week over week, and next thing you know, over the course of a couple of months, hey, I'm eating an extra 1,000 calories a week, a couple hundred extra calories per day or something, and I'm moving more naturally, and you're increasing that flux. Because we don't repair our metabolism by sort of just eating more. Like, there is reverse dieting, and that plays a part, but to really make reverse dieting or fixing repairing a metabolism, it is about moving more energy through. Because energy flux can also apply to storage, right? The amount of energy moving through a system doesn't always end in expenditure. What I mean by that is, if you take in 1,000 extra calories, but you don't expend 1,000 extra calories, that energy flux can still flux into storage. And there's even some physics equations and physics guys out there that'll explain that once things are fluxing more, you might even store more at a faster rate. I don't want to go there. That gets into weird territory that is beyond my pay grade. But what I do simply know is that the most important thing is that you move as much as you safely can through your system so that you are demanding more of your body and burning hotter. We used to think a slow metabolism was going to make you live longer. The evidence is starting to stack up against that. I don't think that we need to restrict our calories down to a ridiculous amount. We do need to be in a deficit sometimes, but that deficit can be at a high level. It can be 10,000 calories coming in and 11,000 expended. It doesn't need to be 1,000 calories coming in and 1,300 expended. It can happen at a bigger level. We just need to occasionally have these deficits. As always, keep it locked in here on my channel. I'll see you tomorrow.